the quality of our lives as we get older. That's Coming of Age, this and every Thursday during Nationwide This Morning at 6:51 a.m.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton, weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
It's hard-hitting. It's riveting. It's the much-talked-about cover story during Nationwide at 5. Here Cliff Hughes get to the heart of the story of the day. Cover Story aired 5:30 weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Nationwide at 5. Talk radio at its best. Cover Story.
Cover Story is brought to you by JTA Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Multilink, roll with control. Use Multilink, safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
How certain are you that you're taking proper care of your pets? How often do you take them to the vet? Just as we need annual checkups with our doctors, most pets need regular checkups too. Owning and caring for a family pet doesn't have to be a difficult or burdensome experience. Nationwide 90 FM has an exciting feature called Pets World that will help you take better care of your pets. Join Nationwide 90 FM every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, principals hail the rural school bus program as a long overdue lifeline for students.
Anything that the government can do to assist us in getting students to school safely and on time and from school, I welcome it wholeheartedly.
And the PNP is coming under fire on social media for its rejection of the program.
Allow people to have things. Allow people to have nice things. Children deserve nice things. Allow our old boss.
Murders down 41% since the start of the year.
The BOJ confirms that Jamaica's financial system remains resilient and well capitalized.
Jamaicans for Justice concerned powers of the Integrity Commission too broad when verifying statutory declarations.
In news from the rest of the world, a temporary status to be removed from roughly 80,000 Hondurans and Nicaraguans after 25 years in U.S.
More than 100 people now confirmed dead following flash floods in central Texas.
In headline sports, West Indies coach Darren Sammy bemoans lack of contribution by the batters in wake of second test hammering Australia.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, a political row has erupted over the government's plan to provide transportation to thousands of students living in rural Jamaica. The opposition PNP has decried the use of what it says are old buses. Other stakeholders are now weighing in.
We'll hear from President of the National Parent Teachers Association, Stuart Jacobs, Principal of Homewood Technical High, Hadron Mikulski, Principal of Mount Rossa Primary and Infant, Kevin Wittick, and Principal of Norwich Primary, Joy Thompson.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we'll ask, what's your reaction to the PNP's criticism of the government's rural school bus program? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio. You can also message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693 or leave a comment on Instagram. That's Nationwide 90 FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, Prime Minister of Barbados and outgoing chair of CARICOM, Mia Mottley, says the price of sovereignty is our ability to control our information and content.
We have to be able to own our own satellites and not be the victim of somebody pulling them on us because they do not like the position we took on a war across the world.
You'll hear more of her address at the 49th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM on Sunday.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Monday afternoon, it's Monday, July 7, 2025.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. Principals are welcoming the government's rural school bus program as a long overdue lifeline for students struggling to attend classes on time. The proposed bus program is now the subject of a full-blown political row, with the opposition PNP dismissing it as a dangerous plan to transport children. But when our news centre canvassed the views of two rural principals, they did not share the PNP's view. Shaloy Smichael has the story.
The first batch of buses under the government's rural school bus program arrived in the country last month. The 25 buses signaled an overdue promise by the JLP government to ease the transportation pressure for students in rural parishes. An additional 110 are being procured and retrofitted for the 2025 to 2026 and the 2026 to 2027 academic years. The initial phase of the project will serve 258 rural schools. Students will be paying $50 per trip regardless of their destination. While many stakeholders have hailed the program, the opposition PNP has criticized the initiative. According to the PNP, it's 100 old and unsafe buses. But Principal of Alphonsus Davis High, George Henry, says the rollout will go a long way in helping more of his students arrive to classes on time.
I am anticipating anything that can help to get students across the parishes to reach school on time. If you ask me, we have far too many students who are coming from places like Trelawney and St. Anne, and they are reaching school extremely late. And therefore, anything that the government can do to assist us in getting students to school safely and on time, and from school to where they live, I welcome it wholeheartedly.
On the issue of safety, the Clarendon-based principal says those concerns are frivolous at best.
I don't think persons could be so stupid to allow our students to be at risk. I don't think whoever will be operating those buses will be so unkind to allow students to get off in the middle of the road. Somebody must be there to monitor what is happening. And so I am not too worried about that. I welcome this move wholeheartedly. I have no objection whatsoever because I know what our students have been going through. I know what parents have been going through, because when a child is sent to school and you are worried that the child is going to reach home or not, then there must be cause for concern. And so the parents will welcome it wholeheartedly as well.
The rural school bus program will be equipped with real-time trafficking and cameras to effectively monitor the location of the buses. It will also have a warden on board to help maintain order and safety during the rides. Principal of Homewood Technical High in Manchester, Hidran Mikulski, says the program is a signal that the government cares about education in rural Jamaica. Recalling several fatal accidents involving students from his school, Mr. Mikulski says the program is more than welcome.
If you're familiar with the history of my school in particular, we've suffered many years the loss of lives of our students due to what I would say irresponsible or reckless driving, and also what I would consider to be inappropriate ways or means of transporting our students. So we've lost quite a number of students. And so I am super excited about this initiative, and I'm really looking forward to its rollout.
Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the opposition PNP is coming under fire online for its stance on the rural school bus program. The program has been attacked and derided by the PNP president Mark Golding and a string of his spokespersons. The opposition is instead proposing to pay private bus and taxi operators to transport rural children. But as we hear in this report from Mahiri Stewart, scores of Jamaicans have taken to social media to push back against the opposition.
The opposition's comments have ranged from dismissing the program as 100 old buses to alleging it will kill off Jamaican children. Those comments have not gone down well on social media. One user who goes by the username Davy Wavy on TikTok threw her support behind the program. For her, it's a way of protecting children from sexual assault.
And I'm making this video because of something that the opposition leader said about giving subsidies to taxi drivers and busmen to carry children. Mr. Sir, you are you putting them ever take bus to school? You are you putting them ever have big, dusty, crusty, nasty man robot behind you?
More than 100 people had commented on her video at the time of writing this story. The overwhelming majority of those comments were condemning the PNP president. The retrofitted buses will have safety features, a camera, and school warden on board. Another user who goes by the name Queen Tarshi noted that the PNP's stance on the bus program has pushed her towards voting for the JLP. She says the PNP's proposal is full of risk for rural children.
Look how much things we go through with taxi man. When they hear say taxi turn over, how much picnic dead. Taxi meeting an accident, taxi thief, your picnic gone, kidnapping, all sorts of something. And the man come out with something beneficial, with a plan to help people in the rural areas. And that's the best thing I could have think of. Mark, you and your friend them put on your button. When you come out of a race, make it election spits out. Because the more you talk, the more rubbish. The rubbish come from the whole of the mouth. You and Daz and the whole of them. It don't make no sense.
More than 800 Jamaicans have commented on that video, with many voicing disgust at the PNP. Over the years, there's been a series of fatal crashes involving taxis and minibuses transporting students. In December 2024, 2 children were killed and several injured in Clarendon while traveling in an illegal taxi. In September 2024, 4 Homewood students perished in a minibus crash. 2 children were also killed in Portland while traveling home in a taxi that same year. In April 2011, 3 students, also of Homewood Technical, were killed in a minibus crash in Manchester. Those incidents triggered widespread calls for a rural school bus program. The PNP says its proposal is superior to the government's. TikToker Davy Wavy had this to say.
Allow people to have things. Allow people to have nice things. Children deserve nice things. Allow our old boss.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Head of the JCF's Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, ACP Gary McKenzie, is urging motorists to reduce their speed while traversing the nation's roads. His call follows reports that 5 taxi drivers were killed in a motor vehicle crash Sunday morning.
Based on all that we have gathered, one of the things is that the number one cause for many of our crashes is speeding. And the fact of the matter is that drivers should know by now that it is very dangerous to drive at high speed. At that time of the morning, there is no need to be rushing. And so one of the things I believe that we have to recognize is that if we are not able to conform with these rules, then there is going to be a very big problem, which it has already occurred. And so we have reached a stage where there should be no discretion or chances for persons who are driving at excessive speeds on our road.
ACP Dr. Gary McKenzie. He's the head of the JCS Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch. The deadly crash occurred on the Salt Marsh Main Road in Trelawney. It's reported the vehicle flipped several times before slamming into a concrete pole. The 5 deaths bring to 194 the number of Jamaicans killed in fatal crashes since the start of the year. That's a 5% decline compared to the corresponding period last year.
There's been a 41% decline in murders since the start of the year. The latest crime data from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, says 356 homicides had been committed between January 1 and July 7. That's 247 fewer than the 603 murders recorded in the corresponding period last year. St. Andrew South Police Division continues to be a hot spot. It leads the country's murder tally with 47. On the flip side, the St. James Police has recorded the biggest drop in homicides. According to the JCF, the division recorded only 30 murders compared to the 74 committed during the similar period last year. That's a drop of almost 60%. And up to July 7, shootings across the country have also seen a major decline. The JCF says shootings have declined by 33% coming in at 370. Rapes are down by 26%. However, the JCF says break-ins and robberies have continued to increase. Both major crimes rose by 23% and 11% respectively up to July 7.
A 48-hour curfew has been imposed in Parrytown, St. Anne, following a shooting incident on Saturday that left 2 men dead and another injured. The curfew began at 6 p.m. yesterday and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. tomorrow, Kalicia Wright reports.
The deadly shooting occurred sometime after 10 p.m. It's understood that 3 men were standing at the shop when loud explosions were heard. Soon after, 2 masked men were seen running from the vicinity of the shop. The 3 men were found lying on the ground suffering from gunshot wounds. They were rushed to the St. Anne's Bay Hospital, where 2 were pronounced dead. They have been identified as 56-year-old Paul Brooks, otherwise known as Mataron, and 30-year-old Lamar Lynch, otherwise known as Buju, both of a Parrytown address. The shop was owned by Mr. Brooks. Minutes before the Parrytown killings, 48-year-old vendor Anthony Elliott was shot dead in his community of Scarlett Hall in Runaway Bay. Reports are that sometime after 9 p.m., Elliott and his 11-year-old son were sitting on their veranda when 2 men, one armed with a handgun and the other with a hammer, attacked them. The man armed with a gun held on to the father and the other man held on to the son. The father and son were led to the bathroom, where they were robbed of an undetermined sum of cash. Before fleeing the scene, the gunman fired 1 shot, hitting Elliott in his upper body. His son was not harmed. Kalicia Wright for Nationwide News.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with the purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
Tired of waiting for your ride? Want safety and peace of mind on every journey? Amber On Time is here! With verified drivers, real-time vehicle tracking, and panic button with armed security response, your safety is our priority. Reliable service, easy booking, premium experience, it's all just a tap away. Download Amber On Time today!
Continuing the news, Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice Michael Jackson is questioning whether the powers of the Integrity Commission to verify information contained in statutory declarations are too broad. Her comments follow a ruling from the Supreme Court, which held that financial institutions are mandated to furnish information requested by the Commission. The court held that public officials implicitly consent to the verification of their assets when they submit statutory declarations. But the JFJ boss is arguing that conflicts with the right to privacy.
Once you take up a job in public service, you know that this is what is coming at you.
Yes.
And therefore, if you can't give that consent, you shouldn't take up the job. Mm-hmm. And I don't agree with that position because I think any other similar law could be made. For example, we're operating a global environment. You hear this thing talking about politically exposed persons that could very well have implications for you and I who are employed to a charitable organization. How comfortable are you with that broad consent being given to third parties that shall comply, shall cooperate,
yes,
as Section 7 says? So I think we have to be careful and strike the right balance.
She says that balance should be between citizens' right to privacy and the fight against corruption.
I also say, how do we do robust anti-corruption efforts? To be fair to Attorney Cameron, he said it, go and seek a court order. So are we striking the right balance in a democratic society is the conversation we need to have as we fight corruption, but we maintain the right to privacy. If police bring me in and ask me some question and I feel kind enough to give the police some answers, the police have the right to go and verify by going to a banking institution without a court warrant or some court order. So shouldn't that threshold be similarly applied?
Nikhil Jackson, Executive Director of JFJ, she was speaking on the JFJ-produced show Let's Talk Justice on Monday.
Jamaicans wishing to visit the United States will now have to pay an extra $250 to collect their visas. The increase applies to all non-immigrant visa categories. It's set to take effect in 2026. U.S. immigration lawyer Opal Lee explains that the new regime is akin to a security deposit.
It's like a bond rule for all U.S. non-immigrant visa applicants. So, for example, if you're doing an F1, a B1, B2, which is a visiting visa, even H1B, you must now pay $250 visa integrity fee. And the refunds are only available if you follow all the visa rules. So, for example, you get the visa, you said you're only going to be visiting the U.S. for, a month or two. If you have overstayed the 6 months, you're going to lose this $250, for example. To qualify for a refund of that $250, for example, you will actually need to leave the U.S. when you're supposed to leave the U.S. No unauthorized employment. So if you work a day while you're on that visiting visa, you lost that $250.
Opal Lee, U.S. immigration attorney. She was speaking on the Consumer Hour this morning. The visa integrity fee is enacted under Donald Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, which he signed into law on July 4. The bill also introduces several new and increased costs for work permits, asylum, and court-related procedures.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute. The Trump administration is ending the Temporary Protected Status, TPS, for nearly 80,000 Hondurans and Nicaraguans, which allowed them to live and work in the U.S. for a quarter of a century after a devastating hurricane hit Central America. This is according to federal government notices. On Monday, the Department of Homeland Security and Secretary Kristi Noem had reviewed the country conditions in Honduras and Nicaragua. She concluded the situations there had improved enough since the initial decision in 1999 that people currently protected by those temporary designations could return home. The notice is set to become official tomorrow, Tuesday. The Trump administration has been aggressively trying to remove TPS granted by Homeland Protection, thus making more people eligible for removal.
More than 100 people are now confirmed dead following flash floods in central Texas. Efforts continue for a fourth day in search of dozens of people who are still missing. According to officials, at least 84 people were killed in Carr County alone. They include 56 adults and 28 children. Among those confirmed dead in Carr County are 27 girls and staff who were at a girls' summer camp. More storms are expected in the region over the next 24 to 48 hours. U.S. President Donald Trump signed a major disaster declaration on Sunday for Carr County as questions have been raised about whether adequate flood warnings were provided. Trump is expected to visit the devastated region on Friday. The catastrophe unfolded in the early hours on Friday as the Guadalupe River rose more than 26 feet in less than an hour, causing widespread damage.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, principals hail the rural school bus program as a long overdue lifeline for students.
Anything that the government can do to assist us in getting students to school safely and on time and from school, I welcome it wholeheartedly.
And the PNP is coming under fire on social media for its rejection of the program.
Allow people to have things. Allow people to have nice things. Children deserve nice things. Allow our old boss.
Murders down 41% since the start of the year. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next. The headlines at 6.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. The newly elected president of Netball Jamaica, Karen Baugh, says tackling netball at the parish level is one of the main areas of focus for her administration. Baugh, a long-time marketing and sponsorship director at the association, was elected unopposed at the annual general meeting at the weekend.
One of the things we had spoken a lot about was the establishment of a committee to try and address the parish organization and to help them, the ones who are already almost free, to come into the fold and to always for the others to be set up, over time.
Waugh will be joined by First Vice President Simone Forbes, Second Vice President Dwayne Gutzmer, and Elaine Walters as Treasurer. The executive is completed by Director Tashike Summon, Derek Brown, Karen Stanley, Carleen Waugh, Suzette Townsend, and Denise Palmer. Baugh says preparation is also well underway for Jamaica's under-21 Sunshine Girls, who are gearing up for the World Youth Netball Championships in Gibraltar, set to tip off in September.
And the last thing that is on the forefront is the preparation of the under-21 team for the Netball Youth World Cup, which is in September. So all the final arrangements have to remain for that. The team has been in training, have been in camp, and final selection of that team is going to be in shortly as well.
Karen Baugh, newly minted president of Netball Jamaica. The second staging of the West Indies Rising Stars under-19 women's cricket tournament will bowl off on Tuesday in Trinidad and Tobago. Jamaica will open its campaign against Guyana at the Diego Martin Sports Complex starting at 8:30 a.m. Jamaica time. In other games on opening day, the host Trinidad and Tobago will battle the Leeward Islands at the Sir Frank Worrell Memorial Ground at St. Augustine, while the Windward Islands will take on Barbados at the National Cricket Centre in Couva. Games will be played over 30 overs a side. South African batsman William Mulder, who came within 34 runs of breaking Brian Lara's iconic World Test batting record of 400, says it's only fair that Lara keeps the record. Mulder, leading South Africa for the first time, declared on himself at lunch on day 2 of the second test against Zimbabwe in Bulawayo. He was 367 not out when he declared. He was just, 33 runs away from equaling the record by the legendary Brian Lara. He made that against England in Antigua in 2004. The 27-year-old Mulder opted against going for the record, instead declaring South Africa's first innings on 626 of 5, and he said it was in the team's best interest, but also in respect of Lara's legendary status in the game. Mulder says Brian Lara is a legend, and for someone of that stature to keep that record is pretty special. Mulder says if he gets the chance again, he'd probably do the same thing. He said he spoke to his coach, Shakri Conrad, about it, and the coach kind of went with it. He said, let the legend keep the really big score. Mulder instead ended with the 5th highest individual score and the best by a South African. He was okay with that. The highest individual scores in Test cricket is Brian's 400, and then there's also Matthew Hayden 380. There's Lara again 375, and Mahela Jayawardena 374. Mulder is now 367. Mulder began the day on 264 runs out of South Africa's overnight 465 for 4. On the opening day, he was bowled on 247 by Zimbabwe's Tanaka Shivanga, only for replays to show that Shivanga had overstepped for a no ball. His triple century was only the second by a South African after Hashim Amla's 311 not out against England at the Oval. Champions Fraser's Whip continued their dominance in the Jamaica Women's Premier League, beating Real Mobe 8-0 at the weekend. Davia Richards scored a hat-trick, Destiny Powell had a brace, and Shotani Price, Shaquana Richards, and Neville Gale Abel scored a goal apiece. Fraser's Whip has now scored 115 goals. They've conceded 6 in other results. Los Perfectos, they blanked UWI Women by 7-0. Cavalier beat Wi-Fi United 6-0, and Malgolly they edged Springers United by 2-1. And finally in sports, just going back a bit to cricket, coach of the West Indies, Darren Sammy, says his players are eager to take to the field for the historic day-night test against Australia at Sabina Park, and it starts on July 12. That's the Saturday coming. This will be the venue's first pink ball test match. Sammy's optimistic that the venue will be ready.
As far as I know, yes, I've been told that there will be a pink ball test in Jamaica, historical event. So yeah, I'm expecting when we get to Jamaica, we get our pink balls and we start training. As far as I am aware, we're going to have a day-night test in Jamaica.
The tourists lead the 3-match series 2-0. Sammy is hoping his batters can come good and to prevent a sweep.
We need to find a balance where we need to score quicker and even bat longer. And that will come over time, building confidence, fixing techniques and stuff like that. And Paul Floyd, he's been working really hard with the guys. Hopefully, all the stuff we see, and I watch Floyd work with them and see them put into training, hopefully they will have the confidence to execute it out there in the middle.
West Indies all-format coach Darren Sammy. Our sports are going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade. From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocherias to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's Airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airports Authority of Jamaica is
30 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's the same in the western city, Montego Bay.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
5:31.
Nago Head St. Catherine, Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics has opened its door at 55 Newland Road to assist you with all your medical needs. Visit and get the services of a general practitioner, pediatrician, gynecologist, and surgeon. They also do all tests: ultrasound, pap smear, ECG, and diagnostic testing. Open Mondays to Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Telephone 876-740-1224. Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics, your medical partner in Nago Head.
Residents of Portmore, you spoke and we listened. JPS is returning to the Sunshine City. Starting July 2025, you'll be able to visit the My JPS Care Hub inside Fontana Portmore. Get answers to queries related to billing, payment, prepaid electricity, service requests, and more. Our agents will be on the ground to ensure you are in and out in no time. Look out for the My JPS Care Hub in Fontana Portmore, coming this July. JPS, powering what matters.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for ground transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group? Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
What is the
For more
on TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here ya,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently. But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor to go check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deep fake.
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait, I really want dege dumpling here, give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multi-link?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here Nationwide at 5 on this Monday afternoon, Monday, July 7, 2025. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good afternoon, Siobhan.
Good afternoon, Sir Hughes. How are you?
I'm all right. And you?
I'm doing quite well. We'll get into the topic later. I was surprised when I heard the headlines this morning, but we'll get into it in a minute.
Well, that issue a raging political row this afternoon over the government's plan to provide transportation to thousands of students living in rural Jamaica. The opposition People's National Party is decrying the use of what it says are old buses.
The opposition leader, Mark Golding, continued the line of attack during an address to comrades in West Portland recently.
And I see your MP coming with his old bus plan. These old buses that he wants to say is going to provide a solution, a transport solution. It's going to be pure problem, I tell you that. Our solution is to empower the taxi drivers and the bus drivers of Jamaica with a subsidy that we will pay them so they can carry the picnic them and you don't have to find all that money. And we're starting with 20,000 families. And as the economy improves, we're going to grow it till we're providing a proper subsidy across the nation to all who need it. And the transport sector, the private operators, the little man, them who have them Pro Box and them have them AR wagon, and they will be the beneficiaries of the money that is going to run for that program.
Mark Golding, the opposition leader, and an unrepentant Peter Bunting says he'll not withdraw scathing comments he made about the program. He was speaking at a PNP meeting in Christiana yesterday.
Yes, I raised the alarm and warned, so we don't want to kill off poor people picking with some old bus. And I make no apology for that. And let me just give you some background. These buses that they're bringing in, these are not pre-owned vehicles. These are retired old buses. Many are over 10 to 15 year old with hundreds of thousands of miles on the clock. So when I sound the alarm, me not care what the labor rights say or who they say we are.
That's Peter Bunting, opposition spokesman on security. Well, in the meantime, Education and Information Minister Senator Dana Morris-Dixon condemned what she describes as a vulgar attack by the opposition PNP on the rural school bus program. She referred to their line of attack as shameful.
Well, we're going to get a reaction this afternoon from three principals and the president of the National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica, Stuart Jacobs, and the principal of Homewood Technical High School in Manchester, Hidron Mikulski. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Cliff. Good afternoon, everyone, and listeners.
Yes. Let me begin with you, Mr. Mikulski. We invited you because Homewood Technical has had a very, very sad history with students traveling to and from school for a number of years. Your response to the proposed school bus program?
As I shared earlier, Cliff, I am very excited about this initiative, this program that is to be rolled out in the rural communities. Between 2008 and 2013, that is a 5-year period, we lost 9 of our students to an inadequate public transportation system. 8 of those persons died as a result, Cliff, of collisions while they were traveling in a minibus, or in minibuses registered as public passenger carriers, right? That, for me, I doubt any other principal can identify with the trauma, the pain, hurt that such would have caused on any school, any one person. Though I wasn't the principal at the time, I want you to understand that this is something that has, up to this very moment, it is affecting the students, the staff, because ever so often someone may remember one of those special students, and a conversation ensue, and it leads to a rehashing of the whole memories, surrounding these fatalities. Mm-hmm. And so I, for one, I'm very excited, as I shared before, with the introduction of this program. I believe that there are as a matter of fact, I really don't see any negatives that are associated with this introduction. I believe it's a win-win for not just us as a school, but for the parents, the communities, and the country on a whole. There are many economic gains from such an introduction, and so I welcome it.
Well, what of the criticism that the buses are old buses?
I really can't speak to that. Many of the vehicles that are involved in transporting of persons these days are not new buses, not new units. Mm-hmm. Many of the vehicles, the taxis, some of the very, Cliff, we are living in a time and a place where we just have to accept the reality. Not all the units that are used in the transporting of persons are brand new vehicles. It is left up to the maintenance of the unit, is left up to the handler of the unit. When we look at the features of this new program that is being introduced, it comes with quite a number of features that parents can feel comfortable about. We're talking about the tracking system that will be placed on these buses. We talk about cameras being on board. If I can share with you so many things, so many things that would have been brought to my attention, and many other principles too, involving students being transported on public passenger vehicles, the many activities that they are involved in. We're talking about a warden being on board where this program is concerned. So, Cliff, it's just a matter of trying to dance around the benefits, and I'm, as a principal, I'm really not interested in the dancing at this time. I'm interested in seeing a system being implemented that will see my attendance improve, that will see my unpunctuality improve, that will see my students not losing their lives, that will see them coming and taking advantage of the opportunities that we're providing for them at school, so that they can lead meaningful lives. That is what I'm interested in. And Jamaica should be interested in that.
And you, Stuart Jacobs, from where you sit, your stakeholder, so to speak, will be the primary utilizer of this new school bus system. How do you take it into new school bus program, rather? How does the Parent Teachers Association take it into account?
Let me tell you, the principal used a word a while ago, dancing. The parents of Jamaica are dancing with glee and appreciation. Because 2 years ago, the NPCAJ, in our press release on opening of school, and last year, the opening of the school year, we asked, it was our second point on the press release, asking for a public transport system. We use the word dedicated transport system. And it is music to our ears to dance to now that it's coming through. We're talking about the fact that, and let's look at it. Based on how this bus system is going to be set up, and if it works this way, it's going to be an extension of the school, because it's going to have a warden on it. There's going to be more control. The lewd and nasty music that is played on those taxis that people are asking for. We're not going to have our children exposed on these buses at all. Additionally, there's going to be, and the fact that you're talking about $50 per trip. That's about 1/8 of what an average Jamaican is spending on transportation per day for their children. So that's financial savings there. We're talking about safety, and the principal alluded to it. There's going to be a speed control on the buses with our research. There's going to be speed control. The buses can't go at millions of miles per hour. There's going to be tracking devices on the bus. Therefore, parents can plan when their children leave school, when they arrive at the destination, to either go and get them, or they have an idea where they are at. So
Hold it there for us, Mr. Jacobs. Mr. Mikulski, we're going to tell you thanks for being with us. Yes, we're going to be joined by two other principals, Kevin Whittick of Mount Rossa Primary and Infant School and Norwich Primary School, Joy Thompson. Thank you very much, Mr. Mikulski.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Stay with us, Mr. Jacobs.
Okay, Mr. Mikulski.
Good. Time for the break.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 5:46.
Burn Shack fried chicken always ready. Burn Shack, original crispy. Burn Shack, Cajun spicy. Burn Shack, a barbecue. Burn Shack, we are going Burn Shack.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ocho Rios is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston. It's 30 out west in Montego Bay, and it's 29 in Ocho Rios.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Plug into the sun with Peak Energy Solutions. We are your affordable provider for everything solar. Grid tie or off-grid solar P systems, solar air conditioners, panels, lithium batteries, solar supplies, and installation. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hills, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Attention registered voters! Remember to collect your renewed voter ID card before the upcoming general election. If you registered to vote in 2016 or after and did not get your new ID card, it may have been automatically renewed. Simply visit your EOJ constituency office to collect your voter ID card. Contact the Electoral Office of Jamaica at 888-991-VOTE or 922-0425-9 for more information.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. We're talking about the school bus program, the rural school bus program about to be rolled out come September. We have with us the president of the National Parent-Teacher Association of Jamaica, Stuart Jacobs, and we're now joined by principal of Mount Rossa Primary and Infant School in St. Catherine, Kevin Whittick, and principal of Norwich Primary School in Portland, Joy Thompson. Good afternoon, sir and lady. Are you there?
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm here.
Good afternoon. Good to hear from you both. Before we go to the principals joining us, I want to ask you, Mr. Jacobs, you put a premium because you mentioned that you welcomed a dedicated school bus system. So you put a premium on this idea of keeping the students segregated from the nominal rural transport system and putting them on their own dedicated system. Why is that?
Because we have witnessed over and over again the behavior of the taxi drivers and the regular bus system that our children have to traverse to and from. The music that is played in those buses, the physical advancement that have made to our children at times by unconscionable adults, the careless driving, which is a part of the safety which we fear, and of course there is the overpacking of students on top of each other, moving from point A to point B. When they reach school in the morning, they're tired, they're drained. When they go back home, they're tired, they're drained, and it takes away from the teacher-student contact because one can't rely on these public transport. There is a place in society for adults, and there's a place in society for children. And you ought not to have children traversing in public transport like this, like what we have.
All right.
It needs to have a dedicated, and I'm glad this is happening.
Let me bring in the principal of Norwich Primary School in Portland, Joy Thompson. Ms. Thompson, for those of us who don't know, exactly where is Norwich Primary in Portland?
Good afternoon. Good to have to be a part of this. Norwich Primary is about 3.5 kilometers westward of Port Antonio.
Okay. So, and your reaction to the news that a rural school bus program is coming?
Just like my colleague, it is a welcoming gesture, and I can attest to having the bus for the past 2 months, trying the route from Port Antonio to as far as Buff Bay, that it has made a difference to my students. They look forward in the afternoon to go outside and wait for this bus. Many times before we have the school bus, students would be at the gate sometimes after 5 in the afternoon, after 6 in the evening, all because of where we are located. So when the the buses and taxis are coming from Port Antonio, when they reach Norwich, they cannot pick up anyone else. And so our students, they used to suffer. They reach home very late.
After dark.
And that was very concerning. And however, because parents chose for their children to be at Norwich, they still hold on and hope that the system will change. And indeed, as I said before, it's a welcoming idea to know that the children will have a bus for themselves to travel to and from school. And we have children traveling as far as Harthill, coming to school.
And Principal Thompson, since you've actually had experience with the system for a few weeks now, have the parents or any of these students raised concerns about the reliability of the buses, the safety of the buses in any way?
They do. Even the ones that are living in the inland communities. So, for example, they will go to Hope Bay or St. Margaret's Bay, and then they will take something to go up in the hills. And one morning I was in the office and I overheard.
But before Principal, I think you're missing. I'm asking the new school bus system, new school bus program. Under the new buses, have you heard any concerns about their reliability and safety?
Nothing that is negative so far. The children, the parents welcome the idea. I remember one afternoon a parent came by. She actually, before she came, she called. She said, Miss Thompson, my child is always coming out on the bus and the bus is here and I don't see her. So I'm not sure what happened because she's always here at this time. So it is reliable and I know parents are more comfortable for their children traveling on the bus.
And the principal of Mount Rossa Primary and Infant School here in St. Catherine, Kevin Wittick. Yeah, your reaction to the school bus program for rural kids?
Yes, good evening to you again. And good evening, Shirley. Well, it's a welcoming news to Jamaica in general and to all the students around the country. I must say, though, it's a positive and I'm looking forward to that, particularly if it is by any way means be able to assist Mount Rossa students dropping off at school and picking up from school would be very, very good. Knowing where our location and the terrain of Mount Rossa, we need that sort of situation. So I'm hoping that we'll have some conversation going forward with this system.
Your students, how do they get to school now? What's the most popular mode of transport and their experiences?
All right, so most of our parents have to actually have their own private transportation taking students to school. And some of our students even walk. So students will walk 10, 15 minutes to school. And if you know Cleveland, for most of you know the Mount Rossa main road that once used to link Kingston through to the North Coast, you realize that that terrain is not an easy one to manipulate. And by so doing, it is very dangerous. You and I will not walk on that road until you see it. So you can just imagine.
Yes.
So it's private transportation. And I must say, too, that Mount Rossa, from the township of Lewis and Orleans, there's no structured transportation or formal transportation to Mount Rossa. So it means that the parents will have to actually engage their private cars or taxis to take these students to school. And there's not a lot as well.
Yeah.
I can tell you, whenever there are, say, police or the transport authority persons working, then you know that's a no-show. And the students will either absent from school or very late to school. So it would be very good to have a structured system in place to take our students to and from school.
And that's what I would like to ask you, Principal Wittick. Would you have been satisfied with a simply subsidized system that utilizes the current arrangements where the students traveled free, or are you looking forward to a dedicated system, even if it comes with a minimal fee?
And for both, to be honest. I mean, a subsidized one would be very, very good. I mean, that would take the burden off our parents. And by extension, our students will be able to focus more, to get more resources for school. So a subsidized one, I definitely welcome. And, once it's structured, because as I mentioned before, Mount Rasta Primary Entrance School, where it is located, we must have a transportation system, whether it's being taxis or bus, to take the students to the location itself, not just a park. And I will tell you, those big buses will not be able to take the students to the school compound itself. Mm-hmm. So it will take a lot of conversation in and around to see the best way out.
Stuart Jacobs, what of the other argument being made that, listen, you don't need these old buses. What you really need is a subsidy to be given to the taxi drivers and the private passenger vehicle, public passenger operators to get the job done.
Cliff, I'm going to say something. It is a silly season. It's a silly season of the election coming up, and I think both sides are just trying for political points. It's an irresponsible statement. When you look at the bus system that has been offered now, and you are able to look, we're supposed to see principals, and they're saying the same thing that the parents of Jamaica are saying, and you want to substitute it with the same taxes that we are trying to avoid, the same taxes that drive carelessly and play the lewd music and the nasty conversation that our children are packed up like sardines. That is what we are trying to abstain from, to move away from. You are saying to me that you give them a subsidized price for our children to go with them to do what? When what we have is a big bus, safety, control, comfort, reliable with time for our children to reach a school, comfortable, to learn and go back home on time to do their homework, their home chores, go to bed and wake up the next morning in comfort, transportation. Why should we as parents even think of subsidizing, of going to where we are fleeing from? We are fleeing from those taxes that have no regard for our children, none whatsoever. Why should we go there? It's irresponsible to even think that we would ever do that. Come on now, man.
Miss Thompson?
Yes, sir.
Final word from you. Would you be more comfortable with the taxi drivers being given that subsidy and given the job to get the kids to and from school?
What I would be comfortable with is to have a bus system that will ensure that our children, the children of our future, travel in a safe way to and from school. And I think that if we have such bus service, hooray, I will say, safety, comfort, protection, that's what we want for our young children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you very much, Principal of Norwich Primary, Joy Thompson. Kevin Whittick, he's the Principal of Mount Rossa Primary and Infant School. Yes?
If I may, before you go,
yes.
I mean, I know that this system is for students per se, but it will have a great impact on teachers too. Because we have teachers who live outside the immediate vicinity of the school and may also benefit from that system.
Oh.
If the access is a reliable public transport system, they are more likely to remain employed also.
Never thought of that.
Where they are.
Yes.
So it's a plus, and I don't want to be misused either. When I mention I would love to have, whether it be the system as a full-fledged system or not. The fact that in some of these rural schools like Mount Rasta, the big buses will not be able to manage those terrains. So we'll go for smaller buses.
Yes.
And we know that presently there are schools that engage smaller buses, coasters and so on, that deals with the who carry students who are on path.
Yes.
And it works beautifully.
Thank you very much, Principal Kevin Whittick of Mount Rossa Primary. We also heard from the Principal of Homewood Technical High School in Manchester, Hidron Mikulski, and the President of the National Parents Teachers Association of Jamaica, Stuart Jacobs. Thank you.
Before we go away, those tuning in on YouTube, we are aware of a bit of a technical issue with the stream. We're going to be rebooting it shortly, so you will see an interruption, but please join us as soon as we're back on.
That's the cover story. The headlines at 6 are next.
cover story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.